grab you one.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
There you go. All right, we welcome Coach Gottlieb to the stage, and we'll invite her to make an opening statement and then open it up for questions.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thank you to the city of Spokane for a wonderful welcome. It's a great arena. Everything's been first class so far. We are excited to be here. I'm thrilled to be playing this far with a group that's really united and together. I would also be remiss if I didn't take a minute to say that the outpouring of support for our program and for Juju Watkins has been unbelievable. I think if you can even fathom, the impact that a 19-year-old has had on our university, on our community, on the women's basketball world at such a young age. I think that's been on full display. And like I said the other night, I hope she can really feel the outpouring of love and support. I think she can, because that's how much she's given to us in the game, and everyone's given it back to her, and she's going to come back stronger than ever. This team is locked in on continuing our goals, as Juju wants us to. She's proud of her teammates. She's with us 100% in, mind and spirit, if not in her actual, body. And this team is really focused on continuing our journey and achieving our goals, even though the path looks a little different than it did just a few days ago.
Questions for Coach?
Eden Lassie, Hoops HQ. Your three freshmen, Avery, Kaylee, and Kennedy, have played massive roles throughout the year. What have you seen from their development that makes you feel like, they're ready for this stage, particularly having to play a little bit bigger role with Juju out?
The great thing is, and we've told each other this, it's not that I think they're ready. I know they are. Our growth as a team has been dependent on a lot of things, but not the least of which that our freshmen have played incredibly important roles and have made big plays and big defensive stops and big shots throughout the year, or else we wouldn't have had the record that we had. And, here we are, where we always say that everybody's role is important, and they've owned that all year. So then you don't have to get ready. They've kind of been ready for these moments, and we're completely confident in them.
Ryan Carci, LA Times. Lindsay, Gino was talking earlier today about the difficulty of replacing a star player because all the other players try to do too much in their place. How do you balance that, understanding that with also, trying to get the most out of players, getting more out of your players?
Yeah. Gino was one of the first people on my phone, by the way, after our game the other night. I just appreciate him, and Chris Daly reached out because obviously they've been through this, and I think you don't feel it unless you've felt it before in that way. But I think our players, I don't know, I haven't felt at all like anyone feels like they need to do something that's out of their character. And everyone knows no one's replacing Juju. She's one of one. But I think they understand that amongst everybody else, they've played significant roles. They've played important roles. We just need to be the best versions of ourselves, and we need to do that together in order to have success. And I don't think any one person will try to do, more than what we know they're capable of. But I also think they're capable of a lot, and we're capable of enormity, when we do it together. And that's been the message more than anything else.
Hi, Lindsay. Alexa Philpott, ESPN. Just over the last few days, how's Juju holding up? I'm sure it can't be easy, but also just as a coach, how do you pour into her going through this difficult time when you're also still trying to pour into the team and trying to be present for, the games that lay ahead?
Yeah, all of that. Just trying to be, the human that she needs me to be, and being around, and, the love and support, just gave her a journal to say when you feel it, like let yourself feel all the feelings that you're feeling. Because if you do that, then at some point you're able to move on from them and go further in your life. And we all know, I would never wish this upon anyone. I would never want her to go through it. And yet at the same time, she's going to come out stronger than she ever was. And so just being there for her, as the team has been as well. And at the same time, being really present for what the team, needs me to be now as well. And that's what, while there's no manual for it, that's what we do as coaches, right? Show up for what the moment requires from us. And that's what we'll continue to do over the course of, this weekend or this time here and going forward with what it looks like for Juju and the rest of the players.
Miriam Swanson, Orange County Register. How are you doing? And also I wanted to ask you about Talia and just sort of her impact this year.
Yeah, I'm doing well. We're very fortunate to be where we are. I'm just there's so much gratitude for playing in the Sweet 16, for having a community and a fan base and a team that showed up the way that they did. Again, you never wish any of that. No one would have chosen this. But the way the response has been, I think, says more about the character and the teamwork and the culture that we've built than anything else. And so I'm really grateful for all of that, while at the same time, the juxtaposition of feeling really sad and, and hurt for the game of basketball and for Juju at the same time. But I'm great, in terms of being able to show up and do what I get to do. TVO has been tremendous for us, right? And she's back home here in the Pacific Northwest. She's played a role and given us leadership and been what, we've needed her to be all year to get to this point. It's not easy to be 30-3 or, whatever we are at this point. And she's been relied upon in a lot of ways, and will continue to do that. Her steadying leadership, her shot-making ability, her play-making ability, I think will be a huge part of our ability to be successful going forward.
Hi, Lindsay. Kurt Sandoval, ABC7. Can you speak to the balance of what you said at the beginning, that we all know the path will be different, and how you mentally, emotionally help these girls with social media that's out there versus your coaching staff having a new game plan without Juju Watkins?
Yeah, relative to the social media and the stuff that's out there, there's been a spotlight on us all year. There's been, we've been in quite a spotlight, I think, because of, the success we've had, because of Juju's magnitude, and they're used to that. And I've just, as we always do, advise them to be conscious of everything that's going on, but I empower them to be who they are, which are genuinely empathetic people. They're hurting and feeling for their friend and teammate. Everyone just loves Juju so much. And at the same time, their competitive spirit has not been, impacted. They're here to win, and they want to win, and we believe that we can win. And I think both things at a time can come forth in their personality, regardless of what social media is saying or what people are predicting or all of that. And that's just, I think, the way that we approach it.
Hey, Lindsay, Chantal Jennings with The Athletic. You kind of touched on this with Ryan's answer, but I was curious if you could expand. I know you said Gino and CD reached out. I know Neil Ivey said she reached out. She's someone who really recently went into the postseason without Olivia Miles. I'm curious, was it more support, or did they offer any guidance or advice, or did they pour into you in a way that you found really supportive and surprising at all?
Yep. I can't even tell you how meaningful so many of the messages have been. And a lot of people have reached out to me to say, hey, when Juju's ready, we can connect. I'm talking about, Candace Parker's of the world, who's gone through, a knee injury, I think in high school, and ended up having the career that she's had, and Lindsay Harding, and NBA, WNBA, you can all imagine. But for me, I think the coaches that have reached out, it's just, incredibly meaningful. I think they just try and, give the support that they can as a friend and colleague, and also advice. Nielle's obviously been through it with Olivia. She also just had her son just recently had a pretty significant injury. And, I'd reached out to her when that happened, just to watch a child, whether it's the one that you've given birth to or the one that you coach, go down. It's very hard. And so I do think the women's basketball community is incredibly empathetic, and the people that I've built real relationships with, it's meaningful when they reach out and try and offer offer support and advice. Corey did the same. You know, you can be rivals and you can be competitors, but when this type of stuff happens, I think everyone puts that aside, and the real human aspect comes out. So nothing but support. And again, I think it speaks mostly to Juju and who she is, and everybody wants her playing basketball, and everybody respects who she is as a person and as a player. And then for me, I think colleagues just try and, you know, give you the support to go forward and lead your team the way that you know you have to at this time.
Hi, Lindsay. Kendra Andrews, ESPN. At the start of this, you were kind of talking about how people understand that, like, they're not Juju. Juju is one of one. No one can replace her. How have you guys kind of the turnaround is really quick between that game and this game, and the margin of error is very small. You don't have a couple games to get used to this. So just how has the game planning and the adjustments been for you guys as you prepare to play without her?
Yep. I mean, maybe that short turnaround time is better. Like, no one has time really to think about that in a deep kind of way. I mean, the best thing was that this group rallied and beat, you know, a second round NCAA tournament opponent, a really good opponent, an opponent who had won a lot of games in the SEC by 40 points or something, right? And so I think the belief is there, but we know, you know, we've adjusted some things in terms of who's in what spot. You know, there were not a lot of minutes that Juju is off the floor, so we know, you know, certain things that we run, you know, who's in what different spot, what's the look, what's the read, but we've got a lot of really good players on the team, and it doesn't have to be that the play is made in the same way that Juju would have made it. It's the play's got to get made, you know, and I think we've just tried to look at reads, we've tried to look at back ends of things, we've tried to move people around and take advantage, but we've prepped for K-State in a way that we would for a 2 or 3 day prep for anybody with what we have, and hey, here's the look here, here's the defensive, you know, coverage here, and in that way it's been similar, even though obviously you know, the gigantic, you know, difference in the personnel is certainly ever present as well.
Sam Sklar with the Mississippi Clarion Ledger. Not sure how aware you are of this, but there's been a lot of social media attacks and kind of hate directed at Mississippi State, and particularly Chandler Prater, you know, saying she maybe tried to injure Juju or that the team was playing dirty, you know, and a lot of other worse things than that too. Is that kind of how USC is viewing the whole situation too? Or do you think that the team was playing dirty and there was an intent to injure Juju at all, or what's kind of your thoughts on that whole
100%
situation?
no. There was no intent to injure anybody. It was a physical game, but there was clearly no, you know, no one deserves online bullying in any realm, but certainly not, you know, a young woman in Chandler who was trying to make a play. And, you know, unfortunately our player got hurt, but there was nothing to me that looked like it had any intent to hurt her. And we would not want, I mean, that's not a USC view at all. We have really passionate fans, and there's a lot of love for Juju, and I understand people being sad, you know, and hurt that she's hurt. But nobody, you know, in our camp feels like there was any type of attack on her, and would not support any type of, you know, online bullying or things of that nature. You know, she's a young person that was playing basketball too, and I'm sure did not want any part of, you know, a negative situation that it turned out to be.
We have time for one more question.
Hi, Maddie Kenny with the New York Post. I was just wondering, like, that first practice back, what was it like? But was there a player, like, did Kiki or somebody say something that just really, like, rallied the troops to, you know, kind of refocus and recenter on your goals of moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I came in and obviously, look, you know, I said we've all had a lot of emotions, you know, in the last, whatever it was, 36 hours. We had the day off after the Mississippi State game and the win that sent us to the Sweet 16. And so we've had a lot of emotions, but none of them are doubt, right? There's a lot of belief in our team. There's a lot of love, obviously, for Juju, and that's ever present. We don't need to say that, but I think the prevailing feeling is that you know, we can still do something together, and that's what Juju wants us to do. I think she's incredibly proud of the way they showed up, you know, for her and each other at the rest of that game, and we'll do so going forward. But it was really a group thing. It was a group thing. I think Kiki was a huge presence on our team and breeds a lot of confidence. But Rhea as well, and TVO, like we have great leadership, and I think the mentality has been gravitational to do something together, and that's been the kind of prevailing feeling moving forward.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll
Thank
be
you,
back
guys.
with USC student athletes. right, we welcome USC student athletes Avery Howell, Talia von Oelhoffen, and Malia Samuels to the stage, and we'll open it up for questions.
Ryan Carchi, LA Times. Talia, being the point guard for this offense that now doesn't have Juju Watkins, what's the biggest adjustment just getting this offense moving?
Yeah, I think I'm really a combo guard, so I think for me, like, I'm gonna have to play the wing a lot more, or get to play the wing a lot more. But I think it's just kind of business as usual. Obviously, we've lost a big piece, but you know, we have a lot of reps playing with the other lineups in practice, and so I think obviously we just rely on her for a lot of shot making, play making. So other people's roles are gonna expand and just have higher volume, but I think we're confident in all of our abilities. So yeah, I think just some different looks, a little bit different offense, but it's more of the same stuff that we've been doing all year.
Austin Getz, SWX TV here in Spokane. Talia, you've won a state championship in this building. You're a couple hours away from your hometown. Just how excited are you to be playing here once again? And back in the days at Tri-Cities Prep in Chiawana, did you ever think you'd be playing in the Sweet 16 here at the Spokane Arena?
What's up, Austin? I knew that was you. Yeah, it's super cool. I think, like you said, won a state championship on this floor. I think that was the last game I've played here. And so, yeah, it's just crazy to be back. I think I've had a long journey these 4 years, and so for it, hopefully not my last games, but to kind of be towards the end of my career playing here, all my family's going to be able to come. Some people that have never been able to come to my games before in my career. So it's a blessing. I'm super grateful to be here, to have all my family come support and just be in a city that, you know, I didn't grow up in, but grew up close and was here all the time at the warehouse, the hub, whatever it is. So it feels like home, and I'm super excited.
Ladies, congratulations on being here. Coach said you've had a lot of emotion the past week, but she said one of them is not doubt. Maybe, Avery, you could start with how do you overcome doubt and still accomplish your goals?
Yeah, I think with the preparation we've done all year, we know how much work we've put in, so it just kind of falls back on that. Obviously, losing Juju was a super hard thing for our team, and nobody wants to see any player of that caliber like go down, especially Juju with what she means for our team. But kind of like what T said, we got to do it for her at this point. We don't have doubt in anyone. We know people's roles are going to be changing and expanding, but we're built for this. We've been preparing for not this, but we've been preparing everyone in case or whatever might happen. So I think everyone's ready with the work they do on their own, the work they do with the coaches for whatever moment they need to rise for. So I think that, yeah, like she said, doubt's not even anywhere near our minds, but it's just about our next game and making sure we're ready for that moment.
TVO, Miriam Swanson with the Orange County Register. Welcome home. What has this year at USC been like for you? Speaking of adjusting, like you've like your game has changed. You've learned a lot, I'm sure. What's been gone into it?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been a big adjustment playing a different position and playing the one spot a lot more, and just playing with incredible talent around me. Definitely a different role than I've ever played. But, you know, it's been fun. I think I've learned a lot. I've grown in different areas, and I think just the challenges and struggles that I've gone through individually this year are going to help me going forward in life and my career. So just grateful for it, and I'm just going to see it all as a positive and take all those lessons into these next, hopefully, 4 games.
Emma Bachelari, Sports Illustrated. Avery, this freshman class has obviously been big for USC. What has it meant to you that you and Kennedy and Kaylee have been able to do this together and lean on each other? And how does it feel to be part of a trio who have made this adjustment to college life together?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I think we're all really close. We have 7 freshmen in this class, so all of us freshmen are really close, pushing each other on and off the court. But especially me, Kennedy, and Kaylee, we're really close. We're all at McDonald's together. It's kind of where we all met. And then just since then have
been really close. Me and Kennedy are roommates back home. So I think it's been really cool. And then with the opportunity that our upperclassmen, our teammates are giving us, and our coaches, just to be able to play in games and get a ton of reps in practice, pushing each other. We have a lot of greatness around us. So there's a level of that we have to rise to. And I think we're ready for those moments.
Kevin Pelton, ESPN.com. Avery already addressed this, but for Talia and Malia, what have the emotions of the past week been like, sort of processing the injury and trying to be there for Juju in addition to moving forward and getting ready for this weekend?
I think everybody's kind of reacted differently. Everybody has different relationships with Ju, and everybody has. I know for me personally, I have gone through an ACL injury, so I feel for her and I know what the journey is like. So obviously my reaction is going to be different than obviously somebody else, but we've all gone through like sadness, just empathy. We've gone through it all. But we also realized that Ju would want us to win, and like carrying her competitive spirit with us is like the main thing that we need to focus on.
Ryan Cartier, LA Times. Malia, building off of that, what was that recovery process like for you? And I guess what would you tell Juju about, you know, what lies ahead and what to keep in mind as she's waiting to come back?
Yeah, it was a long journey for me. I kind of got hurt at a weird time. It was like my junior going into my senior year, AAU basketball, so I didn't play my entire senior year, and then obviously there's no games happening in the summer after I was fully recovered. So I didn't play for about a year and a half. So the journey is long, but I know Ju is mentally strong enough to go through whatever is ahead, and some days are better than others. The journey's not perfect, but I know she's strong enough to get through it.
For Malia and Avery, I know you guys are also somewhat close to home, being from Seattle and Boise. Just are you guys familiar with Spokane? Have you played here before? And what's it like if you've got family that are able to come out and to these games as well?
Yeah, my family's coming out. They're actually gonna fly because it's snowing on the pass. But I've played in Hoop Fest here. I've played in the middle school state championships at the convention center. Like, I've been here for a few tournaments, so it's fun to be back and fun to be close to home.
Yeah, I have a lot of family that are coming out to this game, friends and family, some old coaches. I've played a lot of club basketball here, high school basketball tournaments. So it's cool to be back here with a familiar town and area. So, yeah.
More questions?
For any of you, your last game, that sort of the experience playing so well, playing in front of the crowd that it was, like, what does that do for you guys?
Yeah, I think like we talked about earlier, when Ju went down, and then every moment since then, I don't think there has been any doubt. So I think regardless of what was going on, we had a lot of confidence in ourselves. But then to come out and finish the game like that and score 90-something points and just have a statement win, I think it just adds even more confidence and shows that we can do it. We have done it. So obviously it's not going to be easy, and it's just going to get harder and harder every round. But we've proven to be able to, and we have a lot of great players, great talent on this team. And like Coach said after the game, that was one of the best games we've played all year. And it was super fun. Even we talked about it was one of the funnest games. The crowd was amazing. We felt super connected. And so, yeah, I think it's just proven to ourselves that we can play like that regardless of the circumstances. And then just adding the fuel to the fire of wanting to do it for Ju. So we're very confident going forward.
We have time for 2 more questions if there are 2. Okay. Thank you, ladies.